All right. I'm Eric Kane. So I recorded this interview podcast deal with Aaron and Justin from Wonderstorm a week ago. And then I just got slammed. I was super busy and did not get this published before The Dragon Prince actually came out. So when you hear like, we're a week away from The Dragon Prince, that's because we recorded it a week ago and I'm bad. Timely is not my middle name. Look, it's winter now. It's winter already. Last week it was fall. Anyways, but no, I talked with the creators of The Dragon Prince, and so it's we just talk about it's a non-spoilery conversation. We talk about stuff without going into details. So if you haven't watched the season yet, you can listen to this or watch this podcast without being worried about spoilers. So that is still good. Enjoy. All right, we should be good to go. Cool. Well, it's good to talk with you guys again. It's been a little while since Comic-Con, which was super fun.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome.
Yeah, it really was. It was awesome. Yeah. My first Comic-Con, so that was pretty epic for me. And now we are like a week away, I think to the day, a week away from the fourth season of The Dragon Prince dropping at last. It's been 3 years, approximately.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
At long last.
I was going to say, it feels like maybe the longest 3 years possible. What with the events of the last couple of years.
I feel 8 years older.
Yeah.
The world has gone through enough. They also had to wait for the Dragon Prince. Screw up.
Yeah, right? That's messed up, man.
Yeah.
God.
Insult to injury.
That's it. I'm canceling my Netflix subscription right now.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Please don't.
And we were just talking about some other shows, and it's kind of timely to be dropping The Dragon Prince just right after the end of House of the Dragon. It's very It's like the Year of the Dragon.
Year of the Dragon. That's right.
And I've watched the first 4 episodes now, and I really enjoyed it. Definitely, different take on dragons than George R.R. Martin's dragons. There's no, so far at least in the season, there's no dragons being bit in half by other dragons and children being murdered. So that's good.
Our dragons are chattier dragons.
Yes. That's right.
Very much so. Although Zim is still not chatting.
That's true.
Even though he's gotten a little bigger.
Yeah.
He's still very cute, which I'm glad about. Though not as cute as he used to be, because as they grow up so fast.
He's going to get to his awkward teenage stage at some point, for sure.
It's like teenage Groot.
Yeah, exactly.
So as you've seen the first 4, I will promise there are more dragons in the remainder of the season, in the back half.
Yes,
so,
I assume
another dose of dragons is yet to be delivered.
Increasing the dragon dial slowly.
Right. We had a graph of our dragon goals, and we wanted it up and to the right.
Yeah.
We were confident we were going to hit those numbers, and
But you can't go too far because you got to continue. In season 5.
Yeah, that's true.
I begged for the other 5 episodes, but PR was like, nope, you only get 4. You have to wait like everybody else. That's okay. Mm-hmm. It did feel like that those first 4 were kind of an arc unto themselves. So I get it. Yeah. So season 4, I know, you showed the first episode at Comic-Con and then and revealed some other big things there. And I wondered, the 2 kind of big reveals then were that there was a time jump and that people had new hairstyles. What do you think the fan base has reacted to more, the time jump or the hairstyles?
I think it's 50-50. I don't know. That's a good question. Like, I think there's a lot of speculation about hairstyles for sure. And then as we revealed the characters out, through their posters and stuff, I think people were going bananas about the haircuts. So the glow ups.
This is also, there's some kind of humanity measures time jumps in hairstyles. So there's some formula by which you could actually translate one to the other. They're connected.
I mean, in animation, it's a big deal, right? Like getting to do the models again and having, new haircuts and new clothes and stuff is something you actually don't get to do that often in animation because, you're sort of locked into the assets you've got for a lot of it. So it was exciting to get to go back to the drawing board and get some new character designs going with C.T. Chrysler and Hannah and Dorothy up at Parnell all sort of cranking on new stuff. It was exciting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and in cartoons, you often don't see hairstyle change. I mean, it's just one of those things you don't think about, but like, The Simpsons, for how like 60, 70 years they've been on, you never see a hairstyle change,
Yeah.
Or like South Park, whenever they take their hats off and you see their hair, it's like a big deal. You're like,
exactly.
What?
Exactly.
He's blonde?
Yeah. Or like one of them has like a huge puppy, like has my hair basically, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I think Jack DeSena mentioned this at Comic-Con, that on Avatar it was kind of a big deal that we were evolving Zuko's hair, that we cut off his, ponytail between season 1 and season 2, and then his hair grows out in season 3, and Aang's hair changes. And in animation, right, you're used to seeing the same models. So there's something about seeing the hair change that really clearly tells you, hey, time is passing, characters are changing, growth is happening. It's a visual cue that this is not the kind of show where everyone stays the same from episode to episode. And so I think for us, on some level, the time jump is that same visual cue that everyone's grown, everyone's changed, everyone's matured, the story itself has matured, and there's just a really clear visual. Plus, it's cool to give them new haircuts.
Yeah, that's right.
There will be many Reddit forum threads about which haircut was better.
I know.
How they can't stand the new haircut. They're quitting the show now.
That's right.
They'll betrayed.
Exactly right. Yeah,
the fandom.
But I also love how Caleb thinks some of these through. Like with Callum's, he was not necessarily going for cool. So our lead character designer said he was sort of going for what Callum would think is cool now. Yeah. Maybe a couple years from now, maybe not so much, which I love.
Yeah, that's great. Callum is
character is destiny.
Callum's funny. He's definitely not cool. He's got cool powers. But he's one of he's a great character because he's not cool. He's awkward. So beyond haircuts, though, there have been some changes. I think, without spoiling anything, I think that probably the most radical character change that I've noticed is Viren.
Okay.
But I won't say any more.
Yeah.
Because
here's something you don't have to spoil, that anyone who's seen the first 3 seasons can imagine. It's a thought exercise. What if you're Viren? You've had all this ambition for yourself, for humanity. They're kind of interconnected, and you're not really sure where you stop and your true belief in humanity stops. And you go off the edge of the pinnacle, and you're falling, and you've got a minute, maybe a minute and a half, to contemplate where you are, what's your situation, how did you get here, were these the right choices, what do you regret? Like, what are those thoughts? What are you thinking about if you're Viren going off that edge? Oh, if I had just done this a little better, I might have conquered more of Zadia. Or are you thinking about your life, the choices you made, your family, like your children? It's probably a complicated mix, but I think you go through that moment, and then someone hits the reset button with some dark magic, and how does that play out? So watching Viren in the next couple seasons and watching him come to terms with who he was and who he is, and whether can you ever really you can't put away who you were. I don't know. It's been one of the great pleasures has been kind of taking him on that journey over the next few seasons. So I hope the audience is along for that.
Well, and it's a journey I feel like didn't just start now, because he's always been, one of the great things about him as a character is that he has always been somewhat sympathetic. Like he doesn't always do the right thing, but he always believes he's doing it for the right reasons.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which
agree.
And really, I mean, other Claudia is similar. Like, she's such a likable, I don't even want to say bad guy, although she is kind of a bad guy. And again, without spoiling anything, there's a scene with her and her new boyfriend in this first part of the season that I found quite emotional and powerful, and it really adds layers to, I think, especially for a young adult or a kids show, to have such complicated emotions around the bad guys and the things that they do. It was really, I think if my kids watched it with me, and I think we were all pretty like, holy crap, that was intense. And I think it's exciting to see that level of character development taking place, early on in the season. So
it's only the beginning too.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear that. And it's, and some of it is, having had the time skip, we could make some assumptions about Claudia and how she's changed, how she's grown, and where she is at the start of this that are starting to play out. But I'm glad you didn't say you liked it, but you said it was intense. So I take that.
I liked it. No, I really enjoyed the first 4 episodes. And we learn, we're going to learn a lot more about Aaravos, or as I remember in our last conversation, you joked around that he's Aaravos.
Who made? I don't remember.
That's Justin, I think.
Yeah, and then somebody posted the other day internally. I can't remember what it was. Oh, they posted, in Top Gun, the original Top Gun, where he's like, "No, boys, there's 2 O's in Goose." They're like, "No, boys, there's 2 A's in Aaravos." It's like pointing at the thing. It's pretty good. Yeah.
That's funny. He's I had somebody on one of my YouTube videos. I made a few YouTubes about Rings of Power recently, and somebody brought up Aaravos as a Sauron-like figure, somebody who is a deceiver and who comes in the guise of someone bringing gifts. Like if you get into the weeds with Anatar and Celebrimbor, and there is kind of, I thought that's an interesting parallel. I really hadn't thought about how Aaravos kind of comes to Viren as someone making promises and bringing gifts of power and magic. I don't know. Have you guys thought about that at all? Or there's obviously going to be comparisons between The Lord of the Rings and every fantasy that's ever made, pretty much. So,
Sure. Yeah, Justin, I know I keep jamming in here.
Yeah. I was going to say you should answer.
Do you think he's a deceiver, Eric? I'm going to ask you.
So say you talking to me?
I'm asking Eric.
So I think there are moments where he's clearly just kind of evil, but I would say with Viren's trajectory, to some degree, he's promising things without showing his full hand.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's revealed his full plans to anybody yet. So there's some deception going on. Now, I wouldn't say it's the same as like he's pretending to be a good guy.
Right. Well, he says he never lies, and that's something that, to my knowledge, there's no lie that we've seen in the show. Zubeia calls him a deceiver, but a lot of times I think one of the things we do on the Dragon Prince is someone tells the legend and the history, but you have to remember it's through a lens of, it's their version of a narrative, right? They're going to have their, so when she says, we had to deceive this deceiver, that's her point of view, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm only saying it, I'm not saying he's a good guy. He's a complicated character, but certainly, I don't know. I guess I see a lot of people seeing this character as evil and deceitful very quickly. And certainly the case is that this character is manipulative and has a plan that is very counter to what our characters want. I don't know. Why am I defending Aaravos? I'm not sure. I'm just saying he's complicated. We're going to learn a lot more about Aaravos.
Yeah. He's gotten to you too, eh?
I know. He's gotten to ways. I have to.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, and I think you can deceive without lying, because you can tell part truths, or you can, the things you withhold can still be deceitful.
Yeah.
Right. Even when you tell the truth, the whole time.
I don't know. We've all enjoyed the journey with Viren. We've all enjoyed the journey with Aaravos. The actor Eric Todd Dellums has done we've watched him do an incredible job over these seasons, displaying a real range, which we really needed from Aaravos. So that he's not only this kind of, Eric is not only capable of this kind of like mysterious godlike acting, but also we're going to see a lot more depth and vulnerability from Aaravos in the coming seasons. So
season 3 was definitely the end of a story arc. Obviously, with the time jump, but it also felt like it could have been, to some degree, if you'd gotten canceled, by Netflix at that point, it would have been a satisfying ending.
yes.
I mean, thank God you weren't. Unlike many other unfortunate shows.
Yeah.
I'm still bitter about the Dark Crystal, which I don't know if you guys watched that, but I sure enjoyed that.
It was really great. I in a very weird, very quick story. I grew up. I'm going to shout out a guy named Dave Haley, who's like one of my dad's oldest friends. I grew up with this guy. He's like close family friend. And their next door neighbor, I think, or his 2-house down neighbor, their son was one of the writers on Dark Crystal. Oh. And they won an Emmy, and we won an Emmy, and he was like, I know 2 people that have Emmys. So he's very, very excited. It was great.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it was cool. But yeah, it was a great show. It really was.
Yeah.
Listen, I love how you're like, let me just tell a story for no reason at all.
Exactly. I actually didn't even think of it, but yes.
We won an Emmy.
Yeah, exactly.
Emmy-winning storyteller tells seemingly random stories.
But so that was sort of a complete arc, and now there's this new Mystery of Aaravos arc, and I think book 4. You refer to your seasons as books. This is Earth. So I guess maybe you could talk a bit about like set the stage a little bit for people, like what why is this book called Earth, and what is the Mystery of Aaravos? Like what is this? What should people maybe expect from this new phase?
It's called Earth because we dug it out of the ground. And then we just it's Earth because
dirty. No, it's not. That's not true at all.
Exactly. No, I think some of it is that we sort of knew going into season 4 that it was going to be Earth. That was actually, we switched around a couple of the seasons off and on when we were writing about which one would be which, but this one is we were pretty clear on this being Earth pretty early, especially because Terry, and there's some other new characters and regions that you'll visit in the ones you haven't seen yet, that are very particularly tied to Earth. And so that made sense. And we were super excited about getting people to see, like the only sort of even mention of Earthblood elves is, Callum's Trees to Meet You bit in the previous seasons. And I think there might be, I can't remember whether there's one in the original, there was an original concept where you got to see one Earthblood elf like standing in the background somewhere, and I can't remember if we actually did it or not. But anyway, now you get to see a bunch of new cool Earthblood stuff, which is super, super exciting.
Including an interesting new direction for fart jokes.
Yes, quite. Yes. My kids love that joke. That's like they make it every time it rains. Rarely.
Dustin, do you remember when we wrote that joke? I think I tweeted the word petrichor that morning.
Yes, you did, yeah.
And a lot of people were like, "Oh, mysterious!" And anyone who wrote that down, wondering how that mystery would someday pay off, I hope they feel rewarded by the actual.
Fart jokes. Yeah. Yeah. And in terms of Mystery of Aaravos, I mean, I think as Aaron said, we're getting to see more and more of this dude, right? Like getting to see what's going on and finding out more about him and his plans, and what he's up to, and what he thinks about stuff. So I don't remember, Aaron, you came with that one morning, I feel like, at coffee. It was like Mystery of Aaravos. I was like, yeah, sweet, sounds good.
We were looking for a way to define what the next, I think we knew the next chapter was sort of like Empire Strikes Back-y in some ways, like there'd be some time and characters were going to be stronger and smarter and a little more mature, and that the themes would be darker. But yeah, I think we had a sense that, this was also where this character was going to, their role and influence was going to really come to bear in a significant, clear way in the present, not just as this kind of mysterious background force, but actually kind of returning towards the world and understanding how they've influenced, all of history up until now, and what the outcome could be if they return to the world. So it was natural. It wasn't it made sense. And
there's also at the end of season 3, there is, the different peoples of Zadia working together, humans and elves and everyone working. And so at the start of season 4, there's a totally different sort of socio-political dynamic at play. How did you guys approach that? Like this new phase of because humans and elves in this have been separated by this pretty hard border for a very long time, and now that's kind of that's changed at the end of season 3.
Go ahead.
I think this is a lot of the feeling shift from the first 3 to this arc, which is, hey, some kids and young people with a sense of idealism and hope and dreams returned this egg across the world to the Dragon Queen, and this gesture would be this really symbolic, beautiful moment that prevented a war between elves and humans and dragons, and it did. But it's not like from there the world is great, you know what, let's get back together and get rid of these borders and everybody. There are some groups which have connected, right? So obviously, Ezrin and the Dragon Queen and Zim have connected, and we've seen Amaya and Janai connect, and we've seen humans and Sunfire elves work together. So we've seen the start of kind of those groups kind of reforming bonds and trying to work together. But the truth is, when we thought about it, when anyone thinks about it, is that there have been generations of conflict. There have been centuries of division and inevitably prejudice building up. Imagination will, and stories of what people are like on the other side, what the people are like who aren't like you. And so you can't just say, okay, well, now we're going to live in a camp together and get to know one another and live in peace, and it's going to be perfect. By the way, yeah, there are going to be a lot of people who are like, yes, I want this, and I'm going to try this, and I'm going to get to know you, and we're going to share each other's customs and culture. But there are going to be a lot of people who are going to resist it, or a lot of people who are going to be troubled by it. And that's a theme that we are seeing is things are changing, but it's not as easy as it seemed at first. And so how do the leaders and the idealists and the people who still have hope and want that change, people like Ezrin, how do they still inspire people and help them move forward into a new world when it's not just as easy as returning an egg now? Now it's something that's going to take time and process, and that's part of what we wanted to push on here. You saw, I think, the start of one of those stories in the first 4 that will play out in an interesting way in the next couple of episodes.
Yeah, I was reminded of, I don't know if you've ever read Joe Abercrombie, a fantasy author. He's got one of his books is titled The Trouble with Peace.
Yeah.
And I thought of that when I was watching, I thought of that title when I was watching the first 4 episodes.
Joe's awesome.
Yeah, he's great,
Very
man.
talented. Yeah.
Such great books. Jelly tarts also play a role once again. Have you guys made those? Have you reproduced those jelly tarts in real life? I'm curious.
Yes, we have.
They look so good. Are they as good as they look?
They're quite good. Yeah, they're based on Hamantashen, and we had some for our first viewing party for sure.
Nice.
And we had the regular, one of the classic flavors. I feel like is it sesame seed, Aaron, or poppy seed? I can't remember. There's
poppy seed is a flavor.
Yeah.
I mean, persimmon is not one we see very commonly.
Yes. Yeah. But I think one of our writers, McCall, made some as well. I think
made Hamantashen.
Yeah. So
I might have to try my hand at them before, for next Thursday or something.
Nice. Yeah. Please send pictures if you do.
Yeah.
As you're alluding, Barius invents a new form of a new filling for Hamantashen.
Yeah.
We'll see if it becomes popular or not. We'll see if this filling has it.
It's a test market right now. So
I had the strangest thing. The PR for Tums offered to send me dragon rolls from the local sushi place for the premiere of House of the Dragon. So that's how I celebrated House of the Dragon.
Nice.
Dragon Prince with jelly tarts.
Nice, that's awesome. Yes, I endorse this. This is
well, cool. Well, I know you guys are busy, so I think we can wrap it there. But yeah, really looking forward to watching the rest of the season. Oh, one last question. Sorry,
Yeah.
is it going to be
You
3
can
more
grab us
years?
anytime if you have something else you need. But
Yeah, totally. But is it going to be 3 more years till season 5, or are you guys going to like speed up this
Actually,
release
it's gonna be
schedule a
4
bit?
we'll have
more
to
years.
wait and no, we're not going to lie. It's so much faster. We were able to produce these concurrently, and that means we'll be able to deliver them. I mean, I don't want to get people's, but it'll be.
Faster.
I'm almost certain much less time
Yeah.
between seasons this time.
I am certain. I guarantee there will be substantially less time between seasons.
Yes. Well, welcome back. Have patience
Yeah.
but you won't have to have the same kind of patience. People can go out and enjoy the Dragon Prince, knowing more will be coming before too long.
Yeah.
Certainly before the next seasons of House of Dragon or
Rings of Power. Those are all in
Yeah.
2024, like way
They
out
need to-
there. It's crazy.
It's expensive to make those shows, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
so
I
fun.
know.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
we have to get all those House of Dragon folks to check out Dragon Prince.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah. The house next door.
I mean,
we need some dragon content.
If you like dragons, there's
Yeah,
dragons.
exactly. Yeah.
Dragons and drama.
Yeah.
And there aren't a lot of shows with dragons. There really just aren't.
It's shocking considering how popular they are. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm not being a jackass. Like, I actually am surprised there are not more dragon shows.
There's actually I got in an argument with somebody over Rings of Power because they were saying it's one of the only good family fantasy shows out there for the whole family. And as I started to think about other ones like The Dragon Prince, I realized that they're actually right. There aren't a lot of like family fantasy shows out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's what I tell people for The Dragon Prince. Like you will enjoy this. Your kids will enjoy this, but you will also enjoy this. It is a family, like all ages fantasy
you.
show, which is great.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
We always hope the parallel, at least in terms of like feeling, is like Harry Potter, which is to say, like I think people look at animation and they automatically think a little younger than it necessarily is, but I think the feeling of Dragon Prince is actually a little older. It's actually a little more like Harry Potter, but
definitely, I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
and animation has changed so much. I mean, like, like Arcane, which from Riot was very adult and very excellent.
Yes.
So
Yep.
I really enjoyed that. But yeah, well, anyways,
It's
all
very
right.
well
little known fact: the person who designed Claudia for us is also the person who designed Jinx.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
Jinx is a great character too.
Katie D'Souza, brilliant art director.
Huh.
She just directed a game for Phoenix, which is pretty awesome. So
Anyway,
multi-talented.
Yeah, maybe next time we should talk about the Dragon Prince game. Maybe as we get closer to
Yes,
that
we have.
coming.
We will have news coming. It's coming.
Awesome.
I promise. Yeah.
awesome.
Sweet.
Cool.
All right, so I hope everybody enjoyed this podcast about the Dragon Prince Season 4. I hope you enjoy Season 4. My first review is up for that on this YouTube channel as well as on my blog at Forbes. I will link to those in the description down below. If you enjoyed this content, please do like and subscribe. And go check out Wonderstorm. If you haven't seen the Dragon Prince yet, please do. It's fantastic. One of my favorite animated shows out there on any streaming service. Me and the kids all really enjoy it. So, yeah, peace.